Hello everyone, it's Cheryl here from Beyond the Classroom Milton. I am the owner of Beyond the Classroom Milton. It's an in-home tutoring company for kids, JK to grade 12, and we match certified teachers with students to help them with their confidence and their schoolwork at home. So I'm joining you today, Friday afternoon, to talk a little bit more about the concept of growth mindset. It's going to be a really quick video, but I'm going to offer you 6 really interesting findings from a study on growth mindset from a leading researcher in this area, Cheryl Vrkljan. So I want to tell you the results of this study, and I'm telling you because it will help you as a parent learn how to help your child to love learning. So the study I want to tell you about is all about praise. And I've talked about this sort of at length, but the findings of the study really bring it down to a practical level. And they give you some things that very clear direction on how you can praise your child and why it matters. So I wanted to take this kind of practical angle for those of you who are sort of research nerds like me. I love reading research studies. So I want to tell you about this one that was done. It was done with a bunch of grade 5 kids, and it was all about how they were praised when they were asked to do a task. So some of the grade 5 students who were asked to do a task were praised in a way that praised their intelligence, like their natural abilities and their natural intelligence and how smart they were and how many answers they got correct and that kind of praise. So that is sort of a fixed mindset type praise. So it's actually praising the child's natural given abilities. The other group of students was actually praised throughout the task by talking about in terms of a growth mindset. So talking about how they can learn and that kind of idea. They were praised for their effort. They were praised not for their achievements, but how hard they worked and how persistent they were to solve the task and how well they used different types of strategies to come to the answer. So one is a very fixed mindset way of praising, and one is a very growth mindset way of praising. And I want to tell you the results of the study and then why it matters to you on why we should work towards praising in a growth mindset type of way for your kids. So 6 of these findings were as follows. So this is I'll tell you the title of the study after, and it makes total sense. So the results were this. Kids who were praised for their intelligence said they enjoyed doing the task considerably less than their peers who were praised for their effort. So the kids who actually were said, you're so smart. Wow, you did such a good job in this test. You got so many right. They actually said they enjoyed doing it less than their peers who were praised for how hard they worked. So that's the first thing is enjoyment. The second thing is children who were praised for their intelligence were less likely to persist on tasks. So some of the tasks they were asked to do were slightly harder than what they were perhaps able to solve immediately. And the kids who were actually praised for their efforts were more likely to persist on that task than kids who were praised for being smart, because those smart kids tended to think, well, I don't understand, I'm a failure, I can't do it, and they gave up. So that's the second point. Third point is actually kids that were praised for their own intelligence were less likely to perform well in future tasks. So even though they're very smart children, the way of praising them in terms of their natural abilities and how smart they are actually made them perform worse in the future than those kids who kept going and were praised for their effort and hard work. So that's the third thing. Another kind of interesting finding is that the majority, and I mean like it was close to 90% of the kids who were praised for their intelligence, so how naturally smart and gifted they are, they actually were very curious how their peers did on the same task. So they wanted to know, how did they do in relation to their peers? How did their peers beat them on the test? That kind of, it was more of a competitive type feel. And those kids who were actually praised for their effort, they didn't care. A few of them, of course, were curious, but they actually asked for feedback in terms of how can they get better, instead of how can I be better than that person. So that was really interesting. A lot of the kids who were actually appraised for their ability actually lied on how many they were able to complete as well. And I think the reason is because kids who believe they're smart and then in turn are not able to solve a task And if they don't have that growth mindset type of learning type philosophy, they think they're failures. And then ultimately that is connected to their self-worth. So feeling like a failure caused them to lie and to make themselves feel better. And so they actually lied about how many they got correct, and the other group did not. The last thing is the group of kids who were praised for their intelligence and their natural abilities were actually more likely to choose tasks in the future that made them feel smart. So easier type tasks they've done before, solving problems that they knew they could solve, and that would actually reinforce, yeah, that's right, I am smart. Whereas the growth mindset group, so the group that was praised for their efforts and how hard they worked and their strategies and their persistence on solving the task, they actually chose tasks in the future that were not easy, but helped them learn new things, which is key for us as parents. We always want to help our kids grow and expand and learn new things and take risks and not be afraid to take chances. And if you are praising in the right way, so in a growth mindset type way, so praising for how hard they worked and wow, your brain is growing because you are trying new things, that kind of thing, your kids might actually be more willing to try new tasks, different things, ones which they know are difficult, but that are going to help their brains grow. And those are all crucial skills going into the future for your kids. So what can you do? I've told you the results of the study, and I'm just going to pull up this. The study's actually called Praise for Intelligence Can Undermine Children's Motivation and Performance. So that was sort of the hypothesis that Carol Dweck had, and no surprise, the kids who were praised for in a growth mindset type way did considerably better on the tasks and were more willing to try things into the future. So I think that's a really crucial piece for us as parents. So basically it comes down to one thing: what can we do? How can we help our kids to love learning? And the answer is praise them intermittently, not all the time so they get used to it and expect it. Praise your kids for effort. Praise your kids for the hard work they put in. Praise your kids for trying new things and taking a leap of faith and taking risks and trying to grow their brains. Praise your kids for their persistence in not giving up, instead of how smart they are or how well they did. And if you do that, I think you will find in the future that your kids are way more resilient and willing to try new things, which I think is what we all want as parents. So thank you for listening. I'm going to put the results of this study in the comments below. So if you want to click on it, you can have a free resource that will tell you all those fascinating facts that I just told you from our study on persistence and not giving up, and all about praise. So I hope you have an amazing day. I hope that was helpful. And be sure to check out our website at www.beyondtheclassroom.ca and all of our resources from these Lunch and Learns. So this is the 7th Lunch and Learn. All of our resources are posted on there. They all have a free downloadable resource, and I'll be doing one more next week, which will conclude our series. But you'll be able to click on all of these resources and access them anytime you want. Okay, thank you for listening. And if we can help you in the future with matching your child with one of our professional teachers as a tutor, contact me. We are having a summer tutoring promotion right now on our website. And we are happy to match your child one-on-one and help them support their learning. And all of our teachers have a very growth mindset philosophy. So be assured that they will praise your child for their effort, hard work, and your child will love to learn at the same time. So have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you for listening, and tune in next week for our final series on growth mindset. Thanks very much.